Although a general consensus has mostly been formed over the last few years in regard to the various Halloween movie timelines, plenty of fans out there still don't know just how many timelines there are, which movies go where, and what the best one is. So let me try and help with that. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host Brett Murphy, and for today's video I am going to be breaking down the various Halloween movie timelines to help you decipher what is what and which goes where. Before I hop into the actual video itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have carefully curated playlists for every type of video I do, be it video essays / breakdowns like this one, ranking videos, top 10s, versus videos, and so much more. There is a playlist for all, so I encourage you to explore the channel, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And if by some chance you don't, then feel free to suggest something you might like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. Let's start things by diving into why there is so much confusion in what should be a pretty straightforward series of movies. I mean, 5 of them are numbered, so one would think that's the way to go. But if you take that route, you are going to find yourself thoroughly confused after a while. Initially, Halloween was conceived as a one and done by original creator John Carpenter. The original movie was meant to be a standalone story that focused on pure, unexplained evil and nothing more. The ending wasn't intended to be seen as this major cliffhanger to set up a sequel. It was meant to evoke great fear in audiences by implying that evil cannot simply be killed or contained. Carpenter also famously said 2 things about the sequel. One, he only did it because he had to pay his rent, which, I respect it. And 2, he didn't shy away from admitting that he drank a lot of beer while writing the sequel. After the first sequel killed off Michael, both Carpenter and producing partner Deborah Hill still had the creative rights and major influence over the franchise. They saw value in the name brand and thought up a way to keep the series going while not burning themselves out by beating the dead horse that was Michael Myers. Thus, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was born. Their idea, that they pitched and got approved, was to make Halloween an annual anthology series, where each year a new Halloween movie would release with a new story, new characters, and no connections to other movies, all centered around Halloween. After Season of the Witch bombed both critically and financially, Carpenter and Hill decided to completely walk away from Halloween by selling off their remaining rights. Universal, I think at the time, the rights have jumped around a lot, gobbled up all of their shares, or whatever it was, and moved forward with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. From there, the sequels, remakes, and requels went up and down in terms of story, continuity, and box office success, with the most recent entry as of the recording of this video coming in the form of 2022's Halloween Ends. So now that you have the overview, let's dive into our timelines. First up, the original or Thorn timeline. The Thorn timeline kicks off with the original 1978 Halloween movie. We open with a POV sequence where a young woman is murdered by a masked assailant. The sequence concludes by revealing that the killer we've been behind the eyes of was a young boy who just killed his older sister for seemingly no reason. We then jump up to the then present day, where we're brought up to speed by Dr. Sam Loomis, the one who has been responsible for the young boy, Michael Myers, since his admittance. Michael, now a man, escapes from the institution he was being held in and flees back to his hometown, Haddonfield, with Dr. Loomis in pursuit. Jumping over to Haddonfield now, we meet a high schooler named Laurie Strode, a bookworm and goody two-shoes who babysits kids around the neighborhood for some extra cash. We take a little bit of time to get to know Laurie and her friends, while intermittently checking back in with Loomis as he tracks down Michael. Sure enough, Laurie and Michael are destined to collide, and on Halloween night, Michael returns home and embarks on a senseless killing spree, with Laurie and her friends merely innocent bystanders caught in his path. The movie ends with Michael and Laurie squaring off in an intense back-and-forth chase sequence throughout a small suburban home. Loomis finds his way there and unloads one too many shots from his revolver, sending Michael backwards out of the bedroom window from the top floor. When Loomis flicks over the edge, Michael is gone. The end. I spent so much time on the original movie because it is without a doubt the most important one. It is the catalyst for every single sequel, and even the remake is basically a shot-for-shot remake. Next in the Thorn timeline is the original 1981 Halloween 2. The sequel picks up immediately after the end of the first Halloween movie, with Loomis still in pursuit of Michael and Laurie being taken to the local hospital, both injured and in shock. The movie is much more of a slow burn, as Laurie lay pretty much lifeless and useless in a hospital bed for the majority of the runtime, while Michael and Loomis sort of do their thing. And oh yeah, it's casually mentioned that Laurie and Michael are siblings, and that's apparently why he was after her in the first movie. It wasn't just a case of wrong place, wrong time. Nope, it was planned all along, and there was nothing random, sinister, or otherworldly about it. The movie ends with Loomis sacrificing himself, taking Michael with him in a massive, fiery explosion that, without a shred of a doubt, should have killed both of them. But after Halloween 3 Season of the Witch stuck to Carpenter's originally desired ending, with Michael and Loomis dying, audiences rebelled, wanting Michael or nothing. They showed their disapproval with their wallets as Season of the Witch made a measly $14.4 million. And while still well above its $2.5 million budget, it was a far cry from the $47 million the original made and the $25 million the sequel made. With that, as I've already said, original creatives, Carpenter and Hill, cut their losses and dipped, and so Michael was set to return in a 1988 fourth film. And that brings me to our third film in this timeline and fourth film in the series overall. Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers. Yes, just like the title suggests, Michael survived the giant explosion at the end of the second movie we clearly saw him die in. What's worse, somehow Dr. Loomis also survived. And the biggest sin of all, there's a 10-year time jump where they kill Laurie Strode off-screen in a car crash. But before her death, Laurie had a daughter named Jamie Lloyd, who is now in the foster care system and living with Rachel Carruthers and her mother. Michael, who was badly scarred by the explosion, has been comatose in a local federal hospital for the past decade, and Loomis has been Loomising it up somewhere. He is instantaneously reawakened by the mere mention of his niece, and thus a new killing spree kicks off, because he is a family man through and through, damn it. Once Loomis, also badly scarred, catches wind of this, he kicks off the slippers and jumps back into action, hunting down the Shape, aka the Boogeyman, aka the living embodiment of pure evil once more. The movie follows the traditional Halloween beats, eerily reminiscent of the first movie, as it tries its absolute best to recapture that magic. It concludes with almost everyone but Jamie and Rachel dying. Michael gets absolutely decked by a pickup truck and then obliterated by a bunch of gun-toting police officers and locals. There is a twist ending where they sort of recreate the opening of the first movie, only this time it's Jamie in Michael's shoes. Loomis sees the aftermath and freaks out, so yeah, I guess what they were trying to say is that, like, Michael's evil was passed down genetically, or it's a family curse or something like that. The second to last stop on the Thorn timeline is Halloween 5: The Revenge of Michael Myers. Yep, that's right, the son of a bitch survived again. This time he floats down a river until he's picked up by a hermit. He's nursed back to health, and a full year later, right at Halloween no less, shocking, I know, he comes to, kills the hermit, and heads back out to Haddonfield once more. Jamie, whose foster mother ended up surviving the twist ending of the last movie but isn't seen again that I can recall, is now institutionalized due to the trauma she suffered during the fourth movie. She's now mute and telepathically connected to Michael, or something like that. Loomis is still kicking around, now crazier than ever, as he's convinced Michael will return and Jamie is the key to understanding him. There's also this mysterious man in black who follows Michael around to set up the sixth movie, though he's not really all that important until the ending. Michael continues his reign of terror, kills a handful of teens, yada yada, you know the song and dance by now, until we reach the climax of the movie. We return to the Myers house once more, Loomis uses Jamie as bait, he then tries to kill Michael before Michael is arrested? Yeah, after everything this guy has done over the course of the last 5 movies, Loomis doesn't finish the job, he tires out and collapses from exhaustion or something, police officers arrive and they arrest him. Doesn't last long though, as the movie ends with the Man in Black finally becoming important and busting Michael out of jail. Yep, this is indeed a weird-ass movie, but not as weird as our final stop on the Thorn timeline, Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. This movie has 2 official versions, the original theatrical cut and the producer's cut that was released on home video, or whatever that was called. They're mostly the same, but do have a few key differences, though it's not like it matters much because this movie was never followed up on and officially marks the end of this timeline. The movie opens with a whole bunch of exposition, explaining what the Cult of Thorn is and revealing just how much of Michael's killing stems from him being a vessel for some sort of curse. Jamie, now played by a new actress, is pregnant and held captive by the cult. The movie opens with her giving birth, escaping with her baby, and then being killed off after hiding her baby in a bathroom stall. Her baby is found by Paul Rudd in his first major acting role as Tommy Doyle. He teams up with the relatives of Laurie Strode, who are living in the Myers home because why not, and the pair work together alongside a returning Donald Pleasence as Dr. Loomis in his final on-screen performance before his passing. Michael begins his typical killing spree. We learn more about the cult and curse from Tommy since he's become obsessed with them over the years, and it all leads to 2 wildly different but ultimately the same climaxes.
Same, but different, but still same.
Outside of this section, the ending of the movie, the only noticeable differences between the 2 cuts of the film are a few death scenes. The finale is where things start to diverge. In the theatrical cut, the studio pushed for reshoots that leaned more into science experimentation. The producer's cut leans more into the occult. However, both conclude with Michael being freed from the curse in some capacity, and Dr. Loomis becoming the new or implied host of the curse, with Tommy, Kara Strode, and Jamie's baby escaping. So yeah, that's the first and original timeline, and you're right, yeah, it's a clusterfuck, and it's made all that much worse by 2 different versions that divides the fanbase even further. Not that it really matters since they created a brand new timeline after this instead of moving forward with the intended direct follow-up. Now, technically, an entire alternate timeline lived and died during that first timeline. This is often referred to as the Anthology Timeline, and it's just the one movie, Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Like I've already briefly discussed, Carpenter and Hill were creatively done with Michael Myers, and so they pitched the idea of making Halloween an annually released anthology series. They got the green light, and their first kick at the can was Season of the Witch. And it's a weird one. It essentially boils down to a toy company named Silver Shamrock using children's Halloween masks embedded with microchips and a TV commercial with a catchy jingle that will trigger an ancient Celtic curse, killing anyone who's wearing the mask at the time of the broadcast. There's a bleak cliffhanger ending, androids, witchcraft, elements of corporate conspiracy and anti-consumerism, plus child murder, so that's fun. It, for the most part, bombed both critically and financially. While it's pretty well regarded now for its ambition and uniqueness, the money people at the top of the studio food chain weren't having it. They quickly scrapped the anthology series idea, Carpenter and Hill sold off whatever creative input they still had in the franchise, and the producers ushered in the next era of Michael Myers. Now for our second official timeline, the H20 Timeline. This one consists of the original 1978 Halloween, its 1981 follow-up Halloween 2, and then our first new entry that's known by a few different names. Halloween H2O, or if you prefer, simply H2O, and some people like to go all out and call it Halloween H2O 20 years later like it says on the poster. This movie wipes away Season of the Witch 4, 5, and Curse and opts to resurrect Laurie Strode by retconning her death completely, since that was introduced in the 4th movie. Well, kind of, anyway. She actually faked her death in this movie and changed her name to Carrie Tate. But it's still a retcon since she doesn't have a daughter that she leaves behind. Instead, we've jumped 20 years into the future. She's moved far away from Haddonfield and now resides in California working as the headmistress of Hillcrest Academy, a private school that her son, John, attends. Michael breaks into Marion Chambers' home, the nurse from the first 2 movies, kills her and steals all of Loomis's files on Laurie. He discovers her whereabouts and goes after her. To keep the body count relatively small and the movie self-contained, most of the school goes away on a camping trip except for our few lead characters. Michael arrives, people are killed off, and then we reach the final showdown. Laurie and Michael square off, Laurie gets the better of him, but he's still alive. Paramedics load him into an ambulance that Laurie then steals to make sure the job gets done. The van crashes and Laurie chops Michael's head off with an axe. The end. Or so we thought. For now, we've reached Halloween Resurrection, the movie where Michael is resurrected by a group of nude pagan cultists, and no, not really, I'm just fucking with you. Despite the title suggesting it, no one in this movie gets resurrected. It turns out that it wasn't really Michael that Laurie killed, but some poor paramedic whose larynx was crushed by Michael so he couldn't speak. Michael ended up pulling an Agent 47 and swapped uniforms with the poor paramedic, who Laurie then decapitated. We now jump ahead another 3 years, where Laurie is institutionalized, faking PTSD as she waits for Michael to come find her. Sure enough, Michael arrives and has to make his way through a series of elaborate booby traps, and holy shit, he just killed Laurie. And what was that kiss? Who thought that this was okay? Who thought this was a good idea? Yep, that's right, this movie kills off Laurie Strode in the opening minutes. This is a blasphemous opening right up there with the likes of Alien 3. From there, we transition to our actual story where Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks, and no, I'm not joking this time, are hosting a reality web series that follows random strangers being sent to spend the night in the Myers home. To the shock of absolutely no one, the real Michael arrives and starts to pick everyone off one by one. The movie concludes with, and again, I shit you not, Busta Rhymes using Kung Fu or something like that to defeat Michael, leaving him trapped in his childhood home as it burns to the ground. Except, psych, the ending reveals Michael's still alive. But it doesn't matter, because that's right where this timeline wraps up. So for those of you keeping score, that's back-to-back timelines that ended on cliffhangers that will never be resolved. In the spirit of keeping this in release order, the next timeline I'll very briefly touch on is the Remake or Rob Zombie timeline. This timeline only consists of Rob Zombie's 2007 Halloween remake and his 2009 follow-up simply titled Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's first Halloween is basically just a much meaner, nastier retelling of the first movie with some added lore. We see Michael as a child, we see why and when he snaps, the movie reestablishes that Laurie is his sister, and then we get brief glimpses of when he first met with Dr. Loomis. Fast forward the 15 years or whatever it is, and Michael is still institutionalized, at least until he breaks out. After he breaks out, it's basically just a shot-for-shot of the original movie with unlikable characters, more boobs, and blood. The movie ends with Laurie seemingly blowing Michael's face off, but of course there's also the weird, wild, and insanely divisive sequel. The sequel initially picks up right where the first left off. We get an extended hospital sequence that's an homage to the original Halloween 2, I'm assuming, and just before Michael is about to kill Laurie, she wakes up. We then get a 2-year time jump. Laurie now lives with Annie and Sheriff Brackett because her foster family were brutally murdered in the first movie, while the 3 of them together deal with their PTSD in various different ways from the first film. For most of the movie, we bounce back and forth between Michael and Laurie. Laurie struggles with day-to-day life following that fateful Halloween night from 2 years prior, and Michael, presumed dead, now wanders rural Illinois as a drifter. The two of them suffer from intense visions/hallucinations that set them on paths destined to converge once more. Just like the last two timelines, it doesn't really matter how this ends because it was never followed up on. But there are two endings here as well. There's the theatrical ending that leaves things a little more ambiguous, and the director's cut ending that puts a pretty definitive stamp on things, and that's it for the remake/Rob Zombie one. And now our fifth and final timeline, the H40 or Requel timeline. This timeline, first launched in 2018, wipes the slate almost completely clean, opting to only acknowledge the original 1978 movie and nothing else. The first movie, simply titled Halloween or Halloween 2018, picks up 40 years after the original. In it, Michael was caught shortly after his disappearing act at the end of the original movie and has been institutionalized ever since. After a pair of true crime podcasters score a meeting with him and reignite his passion for killing by bringing his original mask with them, he breaks free and starts a new spree. Meanwhile, Laurie Strode has been preparing all her life for Michael's eventual return. She is a gun-toting alcoholic hermit who let her trauma control her entire life. Her daughter was taken away from her and now she's estranged from her family. She basically lives in the middle of nowhere in a house full of Home Alone booby traps, drinking and shooting mannequins in the face. As one does. This movie carves its own path in the lore by clearly stating that Laurie is not Michael's sister and that her and her friends were not targeted in the original movie. They were just merely the next set of victims on his rampage, nothing more than innocents caught in his path of destruction. However, due to the new doctor, Dr. Sartain or something, being convinced that Laurie is the key to getting Michael to speak, his one true obsession and passion in life, he puts them on a collision course, which is our final act. The movie ends with Laurie, her daughter, and granddaughter reuniting and fighting Michael off, trapping him in the basement of Laurie's home as it's set ablaze. This would have been a perfect ending to the franchise, but nope, we got two sequels. The first of which is Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills sees Michael survive the house fire thanks to some fast-acting firefighters who he then violently murders, before he embarks on, you're right, you guessed it right on the nose, another major senseless killing spree all within the same night as the 2018 movie. Laurie spends the movie in the hospital and the town rallies to find and kill the escaped Michael to put an end to his reign of terror once and for all. After chanting "Evil dies tonight" 1,000,001 times, they don't succeed and most of them die. In the end, Karen, Laurie's daughter, is also brutally killed by Michael, and Laurie voice-overs us out by saying she will find him and stop him herself. That brings us to our latest entry, 2022's Halloween Ends. The movie opens with a brief sequence following a new character, Corey Cunningham, as he babysits some rich folks' little shit. The annoying twerp takes a tumble and falls to his death, but the parents and the rest of the town blame Corey and see him as a monster. Then, despite what the ending of Kills might have led you to believe, Ends takes a random 4-year time jump, setting us in the then present day of 2022. The movie has little to do with what was set up in Kills. Laurie has been healed both physically and mentally, and now lives with her granddaughter, Allison, as she bakes cookies and does arts and crafts and shit. And she's also writing a book, I think, was a part of it that really carried no weight at all. Laurie literally does nothing throughout most of the movie again, and instead our main character is mostly this new Corey guy. He finds Michael hiding out in the sewers, Pennywise style, and the two bond or something. Corey sees himself as the new Michael because that's the way the town treats him. The two team up and go on a killing spree. And oh yeah, Allison almost instantaneously falls stupidly head over heels for Corey, and the two are ready to run away together and whatnot. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, it doesn't matter all that much because the final act throws all of that out of the window when Corey does himself in so that Michael and Laurie can have their final showdown, which was what the entire marketing plan for this movie was centered around. Laurie, with the help of Allison, take Michael down before they then parade his body around town on top of a car and throw it into an industrial shredder to ensure that there is no more resurrections. The end. And those are our timelines, folks. We have the original or Thorn timeline, the Anthology Timeline, the H20 Timeline, the Remake or Rob Zombie Timeline, and then the H40 or Requel Timeline. As for which one is the right or best timeline, I can't really answer that for you. It's definitely a personal preference thing. Some people will live and die on the fact that the original 1, 2, 4, 5, and Curse, that's the way to go. Some people like Rob Zombie's remakes a lot. Some people prefer 1, 2, H20 and Resurrection for whatever reason. Some people think that Season of the Witch is the best one, okay? There's so many different answers, and the reason I left the last one to last is because that's my personally preferred one. The H40 or Requel Timeline, I just think does it the best and the cleanest, though I don't love Halloween Ends. I do prefer Halloween 2018 over the original Halloween 2 in terms of being a follow-up to the first movie. I love what they set up there. I think Kills had good ideas. I like the first half of that movie a lot, kind of falls off in the end. And then Ends is a mixed bag, but again, it's all gonna come down to personal preference. Pick and choose as you see fit. Where will Michael go next? Only time will tell. Maybe it's another remake or reboot, maybe it'll be another direct follow-up to the original, maybe they'll take another kick at the whole anthology thing. Who knows? But for now, this is what we've got. 13 movies across nearly 50 years and 5 timelines. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below if this helped clear things up for you or simply confused you more. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know what your favorite timeline or preferred watch order is. And since it's been 3 full years since our last entry, Halloween Ends, why not share your most up-to-date ranking on all of the movies and where you'd like to see the character go next. As a reminder, this is the revamped BAMTube Movies, and it is your one-stop for everything movies. Be it breakdown/video essays like this one, rankings, tier list videos, top 10s versus videos, I have it all and so much more, along with your daily nerdy news wrap-ups. A series of shorts where I keep you up to date on everything movies, gaming, and TV related. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that little bell icon so you don't miss a thing. As always, I thank you all so very much for watching. Stay happy, healthy, and safe out there. From myself and the rest of the BAMTube team, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time, and that's a wrap.